good morning.
Welcome. We have a great show for you this morning.
Sure do.
Joining us will be the always entertaining Tom Selleck, here to tell us about his brand new Lifetime original movie.
I can't wait. But first, we're going to talk to you about Detroit Public Television.
That's right, DPTV. Despite its good intentions and quality programming, its visuals, well, they're just not quite there.
Let's just say it doesn't quite portray the channel's vision.
Oh, exactly. And some of the older viewers may not like this, but DPTV could really stand to pick up some new viewers and some untapped audiences.
Like the college and high school kids.
Exactly.
They could probably even stand to pick up a couple more viewers in the 2 to 11 age group, too.
Couldn't hurt. So we're going to have a great show for you this morning, but first, let's see what the weather's going to be like in your neighborhood.
Now, Detroit Public Television was founded in 1955 by President Rich Homburg. It was founded on a couple fundamental purposes.
Like putting local community first, by sharing the power of media to help others achieve their goals, and respecting the trust placed in station by viewers and supporters.
They also wanted to ensure that their programs and services uphold to the highest standards of quality, integrity, independence, and impartiality.
The audience of DPTV are much like the flowers here in this garden. All these flowers are very different, just like DPTV's viewers. They celebrate cultural differences and embrace diverse perspectives.
Now, you don't want to underwater the intelligence of your viewers, so DPTV strove to respect their intelligence and the time they spend with the network.
DPTV has a commitment to lifelong learning with a special emphasis on the development of young children. DPTV's primary service is to broadcast PBS to the local Detroit area. However, they also offer local programming as well.
It provides educational material for people of all ages. There's a special emphasis on the development of young children. Also, a lot of the do-it-yourself programs are meant for the at-home enthusiast, like gardeners, like you.
Those are some good ones. They cover a lot of local events too. Another big chunk of the programming is purely for entertainment of all age groups. They show soap operas, reality shows, but they try to only show programs that uphold a certain level of respect and quality. You won't find that in the real world, only on DPTV.
The channel also partners with a lot of local organizations like Cranbrook, the DIA, the Detroit Zoo, the Science Center, Senior Olympics. And they also have a mobile production truck so they can produce shows on the move.
DPTV was on top of the game when they had to convert all of their analog broadcasting systems to digital. Unfortunately, their embrace for technology ends there.
DPTV hasn't changed much since it was founded, even though the means of communication in the world have changed drastically.
While DPTV may have changed from analog to digital in the broadcasting techniques, the content has changed little since the 50s.
This is both a positive and negative aspect of Detroit Public Television.
It's a positive because it keeps a strong following of people watching DPTV, and they introduce it to their young kids.
However, there are a lot of other channels that kids are watching now, like Nick Jr., Disney, that offer more engaging, intriguing shows that can also be educational too.
The web presence of DPTV is almost non-existent, and what is there, well, it's kind of like seeing a dandelion in your rose garden. Well, thanks for watching At Home Gardening. We'll see you next week. Hi folks, today we're going to be building some personas. We got Steve over there who's going to be building the teen persona, while me, I'm going to be working on the kids, 2 to 11. So right now I'm going to finish sanding and prepping the kids and we'll get right back to you. So first we're going to make a Zach. Zach's in kindergarten. He just started. And he really loves bugs and animals. He collects leaves and rocks. And his parents really like the idea that he's really involved with nature, so they've bought him a bunch of science books to help him pursue his curiosity. He loves watching Nick Jr. When he gets home from school and he's got a little bit of spare time, he loves going on the internet and going on Nick Jr. and playing some of those educational games.
Thanks, Scott. While he's waiting for that to dry, we're going to go ahead and measure out our next persona, the young teen. Ron's 13 years old. He's pretty computer savvy, like most kids his age, and he spends about as much time online as he does watching TV. Ron likes watching movies, and he's getting pretty into rock music too. He likes to watch Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel, but he's starting to get into some of the MTV and the VH1. He also likes to spend a lot of time talking with his friends on AIM.
The 2 to 11 is still drying off, so we're going to have to move on to our next persona, the teens.
Erin is 17 years old.
She's into a lot of top 20 music to try and be popular with her friends. But when she's not with them, she likes a lot of non-mainstream music as well. She watches a lot of MTV and MTV secondary stations. In fact, she just watches a lot of TV, 2 to 3 hours a day on the weekdays and up to 7 to 8 hours a day on the weekends. She has a smartphone and she's texting constantly. She's also online all the time talking to her friends on AIM. She uses a lot of social networking sites too, like Facebook, to keep in touch with all of her friends and make sure she's up to date on what they're doing all the time.
Once you're done with your teen, you're going to want to let your 2 to 11 dry a little bit longer. So we're going to come over to this corner and we're going to make ourselves a young adult. Susan's 29 years old. She has a full-time job at an advertising agency. She's been engaged to Jose for about a year now. They're doing pretty well financially, and they live in an apartment in Birmingham. Due to the nature of her job, she's got to watch a lot of TV and be online. She has to keep up to date with what's going on culturally. She's into fine art. She goes to the DIA at least once a month. She's into music too. She watches a lot of VH1 documentaries. She goes to a lot of live events and loves going to concerts.
It's pretty close. Our 2 to 11 is still drying, but to speed up the process, we can probably start on our adult. Mitch is 38 years old. He's married and works as a photo retoucher in a small studio. Mitch watches a lot of DPTV. In fact, it's probably his most viewed channel. Really likes the news, but occasionally he'll watch quite a few documentaries as well. In his opinion, most of the shows, the local programming that is, are pretty terrible. He also thinks their website isn't so great either.
While the 2 to 11 is still drying and Scott runs back to the bathroom, we're going to move on to the senior citizen. Bill is 61 years old! Bill still works so he can support his family. And his youngest kid just started college last year. He's pretty interested in space and science and loves watching shows on it. He likes watching stuff on history, but he also likes stuff on more contemporary people too. Just interesting people in general. He loves documentaries on that. Watches a lot of CSI, NCIS, those kind of shows on CBS.
Still not quite dry, so why don't you tune in next week while this 2 to 11 continues drying up, and we'll see you then.
We'll finish up our personas. Marcus, why don't you help us with the cleanup?
Thanks, we'll see ya.